Could you sign here, please?
There. Right.
Thanks. That's right. Have a nice day.
I have always loved the book since I read it back in 2011, I tracked it down a little bit and found out that it was already in development. And then I forgot about it because I love to write what I direct. I never thought I would direct something I didn't write myself. I never thought I would actually do that in my career or life, because for me it's all just one thing: writing and directing, and then rewriting when you're editing something like we are doing now. So I forgot about it when I found out someone else was already writing it. And then about a year after that, I think the producers had seen my last movie, The Lunchbox, and it came to me as an offer to direct. And I was very curious to see what the writer had done with it. And then I read the script and obviously fell in love with it. And then I met with the producers and with Nick, who's a writer, and thought that it could be a great collaboration, and it was. It was just, he was very easy to work with, and we just kind of bounced the script between us for a while. And it's just really nice to work with people who are very secure in their talent and just really open. So yeah, that's how I got involved.
Tony, I think it right that you should have the attached, and perhaps you'll find it an interesting, if painful, memento of long ago.
Mrs. Ford's will describes the item as a diary.
A diary.
I've read many of his books. Yeah, his short stories I've loved, especially this one called Pulse that I read. That's how I got sort of into Julian Barnes, and it's one of those writers that you read one book of his and then you just go on a Julian Barnes kind of spree. So I think there was a stretch. There was a 1.5-2 year period in which I read I think pretty much all his work. Just got hooked onto it. But yeah, it's Sense of an Ending, is one of those books that I moved around a lot in the last couple of years, and it's one of those books that I've always carried with me. It's one of those things where you read passages from it because it speaks to you. It speaks to maybe I'm just an old soul, but it just really speaks to me, the book.
Veronica and I were together.
Boyfriend, girlfriend.
Exactly, yeah. Then in my school days, I met my best friend.
Tony Webster.
I'm Adrian Finn.
It was the first time I met him at his house for tea, and we sit down in his garden, and he, you're sitting there and having tea and cake with Julian Barnes, and I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking. Oh shit, I'm having tea with Julian Barnes, and he starts saying something to me, and he went on for a good 5 minutes. I didn't hear a single word he said because I'm thinking I'm having tea with Julian Barnes, and the last thing he said was go ahead and betray me, and I'm glad I caught that one, that last line, but and then I didn't want to ask, what were you saying for the last 5 minutes, because I was thinking, but no, he's just a wonderfully generous man, and I hope the movie and the book can exist together as complements. The movie is a movie can never be as good as a book, but I think it can be a complement to the book.
My best friend mysteriously died.
Who's to blame for this event?
Something is certainly going on.
What is it? What was going on?
You're on your own now.
Making a movie is so difficult for everyone who's involved in the process. It's just the whole exercise is it is kind of a form of torture sometimes, but the reason you do it is so, you can sort of bask in the splendor of these actors, and they have this wonderful instrument that you don't have, and to be able to have front row seats to that is why you make a movie, to be able to see them slip into characters and do their thing and really be a first audience, and that's why you make a movie, I think. But in terms of how I like to work with actors is I think it becomes really over time, hopefully, and it doesn't happen with everyone, but with some actors it just becomes such a close collaboration. It becomes such a great relationship of trust that you know and you know all of them, I think, even the ones you don't end up forming sort of this great sort of chemistry with, they all are so generous. They all are so generous to you know bare their souls to us.
What were you doing there?
We may never know the truth.